Hey there, wine lovers! We're back with Winometer Weekly Wine News, your fast pour of what's happening in the world of wine, without the snobbery or the snooze.
This week, Australia tries to win China back. The most wanted wines of 2025 are revealed. Texas drops $2 million at a wine auction, and a Miami bride learns the hard way why red wine and white dresses don't mix.
Plus, we unpack why old world wine still feels like a final exam, drop our favorite summer sippers, and prepare for Chris, entering his cruise era.
Linen shirts, frozen drinks, and a full week of passive-aggressive buffet etiquette. I'm ready.
Let's pour it out. Okay, so picture this. You're Australia. You've been sitting on a massive wine glut for 3 years after China slapped you with those brutal tariffs. And now, China finally says, all right, come on in, but maybe just with a few bottles, not the whole cellar.
Yeah, tariffs were lifted in March, and Aussie wine sales to China shot up 60%. But, and this is a big but, they're still at just 1/5 of what they were before the trade war started. So it's less cheers and more slow clap.
It's like showing up to a party you weren't invited to for 3 years, and now you're back, but everyone's already drinking Chilean Cabernet.
And let's be real. Australia isn't just dusting off those old cases of Shiraz. They've spent the last few years diversifying exports to places like the UK, the US, and Southeast Asia. So this reopening isn't a return to glory, it's more of a cautious tango.
That said, this is still big. Treasury Wine Estates, yes, the folks behind Penfolds, called it a positive first step. So maybe we'll see more movement by year-end, especially for premium labels.
Don't expect Yellowtail to hit Beijing shelves overnight. The comeback will be slow, and mostly led by premium wines that can handle the price tag of shipping and selling in China.
A little less stockpile stress for Aussie winemakers, and maybe, just maybe, the start of a smoother vintage ahead. Okay, Chris. New year, same obsession. Wine Searcher just dropped their list of the most wanted wines in the world. And let's just say, if these bottles were pop stars, we're talking Beyoncé-level demand.
And no surprise here, Domaine de la Romanée-Conti takes the top spot. Again, it's basically the Taylor Swift of Burgundy. Everyone wants a taste, but you'll need an A-list budget and probably a private jet.
Honestly, the list reads like a greatest hits album of fine wine flexes. Lafite, Mouton, Margaux, and yes, Screaming Eagle holding it down for California with a cool $4,000 price tag.
Which, to be clear, is what I paid for my first car. And it definitely didn't pair well with Coq au Vin.
There's also a trend here. People are doubling down on classics. Old world prestige still rules, but California and a few sneaky Aussies and Italians are creeping in.
Not a lot of trend chasers this year. It feels like the wine world hit pause on experimentation and reached for comfort. No orange wine, no surprises, just the classics. Polished, pricey, and built for prestige.
So if you're listening and thinking, I will never afford a single bottle on this list, same. But don't worry, we'll always hunt down the under $30 sleeper hits for you.
Because wine should be about pleasure, not prestige auctions. But hey, it's still fun to drool over these unicorn bottles like we're scrolling Sotheby's after 2 glasses of Montepulciano.
One day, Chris. One day. All right, buckle up. Texas just hosted a wine auction that pulled in more than $2 million. Yes, $2 million. Everything really is bigger in Texas.
The 2025 Periwinkle Wine Dinner and Auction in Houston shattered its own record. And the showstopper, a 10-liter bottle of 2002 Chateau Haut-Brion. That one bottle sold for $200,000.
I'm sorry, 10 liters? That's not a bottle, that's a Bordeaux water cooler.
It's a decanter for people who list truffle hunting under hobbies.
But the heart of this event is real. The money supports children and families facing cancer, and the generosity was flowing just as much as the wine. Napa showed up big, with lots from Harlan and Promontory, plus a full vertical of Screaming Eagle.
And Texas didn't just sit on the sidelines. William Chris and other local wineries were in the spotlight too. Proof the Lone Star wine scene is starting to command serious respect.
It's part philanthropic powerhouse, part high-end showcase, and a sign that Texas wine culture isn't just happening, it's leveling up.
Next year, I'm bringing a magnum of Fredericksburg Rosé and Dreams.
And probably leaving with an invoice for valet. So after a night where Bordeaux went for $200,000 in Houston, you might be wondering, what's happening closer to home in Texas wine country?
Turns out, a lot. Reddy Vineyards, one of the state's quiet powerhouses, is finally stepping into the spotlight. They're opening their first ever tasting room, in Fredericksburg no less.
This is a big deal. Reddy's been growing grapes for more than 25 years, supplying over 100 wineries across Texas. But now, they're putting their own name front and center, with a space that opens this summer.
Fredericksburg is the Texas wine hub, and setting up there isn't just smart, it's a statement. Their wines are estate-grown in the High Plains. Their winemaker trained in California, and the new tasting room is promising small-batch, vineyard-driven wines with a heavy pour of hospitality.
It's a move that says Texas wine isn't just regional anymore. It's aspirational, and Reddy is showing they're ready, pun fully intended, to be one of the names driving that forward.
It's like the shift from background musician to headliner. They've been behind the scenes for years, now they've got a mic and a stage in Hill Country.
And honestly, the timing couldn't be better. With more eyes on Texas wine than ever, this could be the summer Fredericksburg levels up yet again. Okay, quick break, because if you've been staring at the same parking lot outside your office window and wondering, is this it? We've got something you might want to check out.
It's called the Digital Nomad Online Bootcamp. And no, it's not a scammy course trying to sell you van life. It's for people who are actually serious about working differently on their terms.
Whether it's sipping espresso between meetings or closing your laptop and actually feeling done for the day, this course gives you the tools to take your job remote and design a life that feels like yours again.
It covers how to land remote roles, build real income streams, and avoid the classic mistakes like trusting your future to bad Wi-Fi and vibes.
If you're craving freedom, autonomy, or just a little room to breathe, head to digitalnomadbootcamp.school. That's digitalnomadbootcamp.school. It won't fix everything, but it's a damn good start.
And at the very least, your lunch break might not involve fluorescent lights and passive-aggressive Slack messages.
Now back to the wine.
So, Dealish just asked the question no wine lover really wants answered. How much wine is actually okay to drink per day?
And, spoiler, it's probably not what you're pouring on a random Tuesday night.
The official guideline is 1 glass a day for women, 2 for men. But here's the kicker. That's a 5-ounce pour. Not what your bartender gives you when they like your shoes. And definitely not what I pour when I've had a long day and pasta's involved.
Same here. I measured out 5 ounces once and felt personally attacked by my wine glass. Like, this is supposed to be a serving?
I don't think the glass even registered it. It just looked confused.
But the piece wasn't judgy. It made a solid case for being more intentional. Drinking wine not as a habit, but as something that enhances your experience. It's about quality, not quantity.
Right. I've definitely had stretches where wine went from something I loved to just part of the routine. And I'll be honest, those weren't the best bottles or the best headspace.
There's something to be said for pouring a glass because you want to, not because it's what you always do. That first sip should still feel like a little celebration.
Not like hitting snooze on your life.
Exactly. So if you're in the same boat, maybe it's time to rethink the nightly pour. Light a candle. Make a cheese plate. Turn your kitchen into a little wine bar for one.
And if your second glass has you thinking about texting your ex, maybe just hydrate instead.
That's the new moderation metric. Would you still send that text after a Topo Chico? So, true story. I once brought a bottle of red wine to a friend's bachelorette party and was politely asked to pour it into a solo cup over the sink while standing on a towel. And at the time I thought, okay, chill. But now, I fully get it.
Oh, is this about the Miami wedding spill?
Yep. People just ran the story wedding guest wipes out during the conga line, red wine goes flying, and lands all over the bride's white dress. Like, crimson crime scene vibes. Whole thing caught on video.
To be clear, the wine hit every quadrant of that dress. It was like Jackson Pollock got invited to the reception.
Horrifyingly cringe. And I feel for her. The bride handled it like a queen. No tears, no tantrum, just a quiet internal scream and a, let's keep dancing.
You know that moment where everyone's trying to act like it didn't happen? Just vibes and violins as red drips down chiffon?
The internet's now arguing, should red wine be banned at weddings? Because yeah, it looks beautiful in the glass, but one stumble and your big day is suddenly sponsored by dry cleaning.
Listen, I love a bold glass of red as much as anyone, but once the dance floor opens, it's a hazard. That's when you pivot to white wine, sparkling, or something in a can with a lid.
I'm not saying I'd ban it completely, But if I ever get married, the Reds will be strictly seated dinner only. No exceptions. And yes, I'll probably be the one holding the Tide pen.
And I'll be the one making a toast from a very safe distance.
Just don't bring the conga line near the dessert table. This week's DM came from someone who said, "Be honest, do you ever walk into a wine shop, see a wall of French labels, and just freeze? I want to try more old world wine, but it's all Chateau this and Cru that, and I never know what I'm actually buying. I get too nervous to ask for help, so I just leave with something I already know."
That's fair and totally valid. I've been drinking wine seriously for years, and I still get flashbacks in the Burgundy section, like, why are there 3 words on the label and none of them are the grape?
And let's be real. Not everyone grew up learning that Saint-Emilion means Merlot or that Rioja isn't a grape, it's a region. There's a whole generation that shops for wine by name, like Josh or Bread and Butter, and those wines work. They're easy. The label tells you what it is, what grape's inside, and you don't have to ask a single intimidating question.
That bottle? It's named after a 12th century monk, smells like fresh cut hay and tastes like rules.
So here's the deal. If you want to branch out, you don't have to fake it or memorize maps. Walk into the shop and just say, "I usually drink California Cabernet," or "I'm into lighter reds. What's something similar from Europe?" You don't have to name a region or need a little orphaned Annie decoder ring.
And if the shop makes you feel dumb for asking, that's on them. Wine shops should feel like bookstores, not exclusive clubs. If you ask a question and get condescension instead of curiosity, just walk out and go find a place that actually wants your business.
One trick I love? Use the word approachable. It's like a secret password. It signals that you're open to exploring, but you're not trying to buy a bottle that smells like a library.
Approachable is the new "don't scare me." Say it with a smile and a budget, and you'll be fine.
Bottom line, wine should feel like discovery, not like a final exam. It's okay not to know everything. That's half the fun. Just ask, try, and if you end up with something weird, even better. Now you've got a story. Okay, let's talk pairings. With summer creeping in and temperatures climbing, it's time to retire the heavy reds, at least for now. When the heat hits, the last thing I want is a full-bodied red that feels like I'm drinking a wool sweater.
Totally. This is when your wine needs to chill, literally. Think crisp, light, and drinkable enough to survive a 3-shower day.
First up, Albariño. This coastal white from Spain is bright, citrusy, and just a little salty, like a beach breeze in a bottle. It's perfect with grilled shrimp, ceviche, or just a big bowl of chips. We love La Caña Albariño. Super fresh, super chill, and usually under $20.
Next, Gavi di Gavi. It's Italian, clean, and seriously refreshing, like green apple and lemon peel got into aromatherapy. It's ideal for Mediterranean food or anything involving olive oil and shade.
Then we've got the sleeper hit, Apremont. It's from the French Alps, made from the Jacquard grape, and tastes like crisp mountain air with a twist of pear. It's subtle, floral, and shockingly affordable if you can find it.
And yes, you can chill your reds. Gamay is your best bet. Throw it in the fridge for 20 minutes, pair it with a burger, and suddenly you're living your best, lightly chilled life.
Bottom line, summer wine should make you feel lighter, cooler, and maybe just a little smug when your friends are still drinking lukewarm Chardonnay.
If it plays well with sunscreen and paper plates, you're doing it right.
That's it for this week's Winometer Weekly Wine News. And, heads up, we're actually taking a little break for the next 2 weeks.
That's right. I'll be off trying not to get sunburned on a Caribbean cruise, and maybe sipping something cold from a plastic flute while avoiding group Zumba.
You in a linen shirt with a Aperol Spritz and a shuffleboard match is the vacation content I didn't know I needed.
You and everyone else.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with fresh headlines, hot takes, and maybe a full breakdown of Chris's rum-fueled sea adventures. In the meantime, catch up on past episodes, follow us on Instagram at wine.o.meter, and tell your wine friends to subscribe. Take care, y'all.
Winometer Weekly Wine News is a DCG Arts production.
What if I knew a way for you to work remotely on a beach in Thailand, a rooftop in Barcelona, or a cafe in Paris? Visit digitalnomadbootcamp.school to learn how to land remote jobs, qualify in another country as a digital nomad, and use AI to work less while earning more. This streamlined course is perfect for content creators, entrepreneurs, and freelancers. Remote work and financial freedom is one click away. Visit digitalnomadbootcamp.school to enroll today.